Mehtab,
opposition to it.
Repeatedly, I have been opposing lawmaking position of the government. And last time, on a different ordinance, I had specifically mentioned that how many ordinances per year has been moved by the present government. During the UPA regime, also I had also mentioned how many ordinances have been moved by the UPA regime. And before that, the first NDA government also had moved number of ordinances, and per year the average was actually been increasing year after year. This provision of ordinance is a very unique feature in our constitution, and especially in subcontinent, in our subcontinent, this is a unique feature which we have inherited from the British Parliament. But Britain does not have this provision of ordinance anymore. It is high time that we also should do away with the ordinance mechanism. The problem here is, yes, we sit in 4 sessions, budget session in 2 parts, and we have winter session and also monsoon session. But whereas the British Parliament sits invariably throughout the year. There are large number of parliaments in the world which sits throughout the year. But here, because we have sessions in between and intersession in between, lawmaking provisions has to be done through ordinance. That is the logic which repeatedly number of governments have said. But I still hold the view that making law through ordinance and then subsequently when the session is called, ordinances are withdrawn and the bill is placed for consideration. There are instances, I would not go into that aspect, that how ordinance also has to be withdrawn or has become nullified because the House did not agree. But here I would like to mention this bill, specifically the bill that is now under consideration, suffers from incongruities and is also illegal. And as the Honorable Minister just now mentioned about the Bombay High Court Goa bench, and also subsequently about the Tripura bench, the House would be enlightened when we become aware. When was the Tripura High Court had pronounced that judgment? And what is the duration when the ordinance came into being? That will clear a lot of confusion that is there in this country. I would come directly to the provision, the fundamental rights that I had mentioned the other day relating to 21. What does it say? No person shall be convicted of any offense except for violation of a law in force at the time of the commission of the act charged as an offense. I'm talking about 21. 20 subsection 1, where protection in respect of convictions for offenses. And here, nor be subjected to a penalty greater than that which might have been inflicted under the law in force at the time of the commission of the offense. In this respect, I would say there is wide acceptance that amendments to taxation law may apply retrospectively, where the government has announced by press release, and we have seen during UPA regime, an amendment was done to impose tax retrospectively. And during that time, the present political party which was in opposition, both in Rajya Sabha and also in Lok Sabha, had said vehemently that we oppose this. And subsequently in 2014, when the party came to power, they also effected this change. But here, I would just like to mention, yes, it is clearly, but retrospective effect is not allowed in criminal law. The protection given in the Constitution has been the main source of all other judgment with respect of penal provision in tax cases. The judgment have made it well settled that there cannot be any retrospectivity in respect of penalty and confiscation. In the statement of objects and reasons, it is mentioned the word inadvertently, and subsequently, consequential changes was not carried out in Section 27A of NDPS Act at the time of amendment in Section 2 by the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act 2014. But how is it possible? This leads to another question that this House had deliberated in 2011. When the minister, that time, of course, in 2011, in the month of March, the then Finance Minister, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, had moved that amendment. And subsequently, in 2011, perhaps within, I think, 6 months' time, the Standing Committee of Finance had given a report. I can also, because it is now in public domain, I can share it, that the question was asked that the amendment that you are moving in 2011, this amendment came to light, the necessity of this amendment came to light in 2001 law. Why it took more than 10 years to move the amendment? And the answer that the ministry had given that time, or the department had given that time, was too frivolous. That government changed. I have the standing committee report before me. It's a government changed and number of procedures had to be followed, but it took 10 years to make that amendment. And now what is happening? This is an act which came into force in 2014. And we come to know about it, about this, as it is said, clerical error, come to know about it after the Goa bench of Bombay High Court, attention was drawn. And subsequently, the Tripura High Court said, you have to correct it. I will come to that aspect, what Tripura High Court has actually pronounced. But this shows, if I may say so, the lackadaisical approach of the ministry or the department. Invariably, whoever is there in the government, be it the UPA government or in the NDA government, how they have functioned, especially relating to this important law. What does the law say? Law says anyone who is actually carrying out the basic change that was affected was that anyone who deals with narcotics, who harbors offenders, they should be punished. Those who indulge in financing illicit trafficking, they should be punished. This was the intent. If this is the intent, how a mistake has been committed? And this mistake is to be corrected after 7 years. A mistake which was to be incorporated to 10 years from 2001 to 2011. And when it was notified in 2014, it took another 7 years. In 2021, we are making this effort. And I believe, I may be wrong, I hope I am wrong. Again, to have a retrospective effect, which is actually, it leads to double jeopardy, which leads to, which is illegal. I would say, again, you are taking this after, if at all, with your majority and getting passed in Rajya Sabha, if at all it becomes an act, again it will be decided in the court of law. But here I would like to appraise this House. On 3 occasions, of course, retrospective effect has taken place. The essentiality of a right to protection from retrospective criminal law has generally been accepted without argument. Literature on the justification for the principle is very scarce. Yet, it has come to, it has become well accepted that individuals have such right. The principle has been enunciated in various declarations of human rights from 1789 until the present. Nevertheless, there are some examples. I would refer to only three. Three examples of retrospective lawmaking are mentioned. I'm mentioning. One is Nuremberg trial of the late 1940s. The decision of the House of Lords, Shaw versus Director of Public Prosecutor in 1961, and the Commonwealth's bottom of the harbor tax legislation of 1982. These are the three instances which history tells us, yes, retrospectively, a penal provision can be affected. But these three are totally different from the provision that we are accepting here. And here I would like to mention, in each case, the actions of the defendants were considered so morally repugnant that the principle of non-retroactivity was relaxed so as to allow them to be punished. These examples differ to the extent to which the retrospective aspect of each has been accepted. The Nazis tried at Nuremberg are generally said to have been adjudged fairly. The decision in Shaw's case has been criticized widely, and the bottom of the harbor tax legislation has attracted both critics and champions. Retrospective operation is an inaccurate term and open to various interpretation. I would say the word retrospective is somewhat very ambiguous. Sir, ordinarily, a canon of interpretation of penal legislation does not permit penal provision to have retrospective effect. But Article 20, subsection 1, doesn't bar a civil liability being imposed retrospectively. What is prohibited in Article 21 is only conviction or sentence, but not trial. A person can be convicted and punished under a law in force, which means a law factually in existence at the time of the offense was committed. A law passed on September 30th, but act committed on August 1st cannot be taken to be a law in force on August 1st. And so an act committed on August 1st cannot be punished thereunder. A law not factually in existence at the time enacted subsequently, but by a legislative declaration deemed to have become operative from an earlier date, cannot be considered to be a law factually in force earlier than the date of its enactment. But what I understand from the Honorable Minister's version is, yes, it was in law in a part, but at the penalty clause, it was absent. A question was posed. It was posed, and this question also is of greater importance. Is financing illicit trafficking of narcotics and harboring offenders no longer a crime in India? And to address that situation, these amendments actually have been made. What does the provision that was omitted in the Act is? The provision reads, whoever indulges in financing, directly or indirectly, any of the activities specified in subclauses 1 to 5 of clause 8A of section 2, or harbors any person engaged in any of the aforementioned activities, shall be punishable with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 10 years, but which may extend to 20 years, and shall also be liable to fine which shall not be less than 1 lakh rupees, but which may extend to 2 lakh rupees, provided that the court may, for reasons to be recorded in the judgment, impose a fine extending 2 lakh rupees. Sir, I would the Act, which has evolved over the years and has been amended thrice earlier, and this is the fourth time it is before us. The ordinance, it was mentioned, due to oversight. It is also said there was a drafting error. Now we hear it is a clerical error. Omission is notified after 7 years, is noticed after 7 years, as I mentioned. What was the relevant cause that I have also mentioned? So why the provision became inoperable? That is the question I hope Minister will tell us. The text of the provisions that I have also read. But section 2, subsection 8A, subclause 1 to 5, which is supposed to be the catalogue of offences, does not exist after the 2014 amendment. So if section 27A penalizes a blank list or a non-existent provision, it can be argued that it is virtually inoperable. In 2016, sir, an accused sought bail before a special judge in West Tripura, in Agartala, citing this omission. The district judge referred the case to the Tripura High Court. The Law Ministry had argued, and this is the beauty of the argument here. The Law Ministry had argued that the court must overlook the omission and read the legislation as a whole. It also told the court that the provision would be amended to rectify the dissonance. The Tripura High Court agreed with the government's view, but said it may not be the best solution. Now I come to the second aspect, that is recent judgment of Honorable Tripura High Court, which prompted the government to take remedial steps to correct the anomaly. The case number is CR1 reference 1 2020, court on its own motion versus Union of India. The court has held that until, anyway, the court came to your rescue and said, take appropriate steps for amendment as required in 27A. I have my doubt whether this insertion by the court is appropriate. Therefore, I hold the view that criminal laws cannot be amended retrospectively. Article 20 of the Constitution guarantees protection against double jeopardy. Article 20, subsection 1 says, no person shall be convicted of any offense except for violation of the law in force at the time of the commission of the act, charged as an offense, nor can be subjected to a penalty greater than that which might have been inflicted under the law in force of the time of the commission of the offense. When this is the case,
Mehtabji, please conclude.
How can the penal provision be
End of the
pronounced
discussion, you have
retrospectively?
Yes, please conclude.
As I had said, it will lead to more constitutional questions. My question here is, when we accept it was a mistake, why commit another mistake by making it retrospectively? We are all for the change or the by adding this provision in 27A. But making it retrospective, you are actually, there is a flaw in the law. And you correct the flaw, it is necessary. We are all for it. I'm all for it.
Yes.
But making it retrospective, you are making another mistake, which will also be challenged in the court of law. And we'll wait. And I have no idea what effect this will have against the alleged culprits who have been apprehended for a large haul of narcotics, drugs from a Gujarat port. I believe appropriate steps are being taken. We need strong law that is implementable. clear, and swift. Thank you.
Thank you.